right, here we go with this month in Teams for September. So today we've brought in Call Tower, and they specialize in Microsoft Teams calling. So our speaker today is Rafael Renteria. He's a channel director. We first reached out to Call Tower back in November of 2020, so it's been almost a year. We have done some voice work with Teams. The issue we ran into was there's a lot of holes in Microsoft's offering. So things like a receptionist console or paging, door access. I had a whole list of things that Teams couldn't do. And Call Tower filled all those voids. So if you have anything around phone and you want to go to Teams, they can make that happen for you. So without any more, here's Rafael. He's going to introduce Call Tower and their solution for Teams Voice.
Great. Thank you for the introduction. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I appreciate the opportunity today and talking about Call Tower and Call Tower in Teams. I know, let me kind of jump right into the presentation here. A little bit about who's Call Tower. See, many of you may be thinking, well, why Call Tower? I know Tim just said it best about, there's some feature gaps that Microsoft has, right? They can't do things like overhead paging, door phones, door buzzers, contact center, things like that. And that's where Call Tower really shines. So just a little bit about Call Tower before I really dive into Teams and why Call Tower and Teams is going to be, us being established, right? We actually started back in 2002 in this space as a unified communications as a service company. Back in 2002, a lot of folks referred to us as a voice over IP company or a VoIP company, and today they give us a nicer name, so it's a UCaaS, which again is unified communications as a service. So as we started back in 2002, we've grown quite a bit. Right. As far as our customers goes, we have 3,200 customers globally. One thing that makes us unique versus, say, other providers out there, including Microsoft, is the way we deliver Microsoft Teams. See, we've built our own platform, which we call Connect, that allows Office 365 users to integrate with our voice capabilities. So things like adding faxing or paging or contact center, adding users, everything is done on our platform. But again, it does connect in with Microsoft. Offering things like coverage and implementation. Implementation and support is a big thing here at Call Tower. See, when you sign on with Call Tower, what we're going to do is assign a dedicated implementation manager to your account that takes you from the kickoff call through the journey of implementation, and then of course supporting all of that service after the fact. As we like to say, we're friendly with Microsoft. We understand that they are a software company. We are a voice company, and that's why we provide that quality of service to our customers and also that white glove implementation to our customers. Having best of breed. See, this is something I'm going to dive a little deeper on. Again, talking about Microsoft Teams is today's subject, but sometimes we have customers that are currently using like a Cisco Call Manager or some other type of prem-based phone system. We can integrate other systems here at Call Tower, including some of our own systems. We actually have multiple platforms here that may fit your organization. So for example, if you have something like a manufacturing type plant and you don't want to use Teams devices in the warehouse, we do have a product for that, which is called our CT Cloud Voice product, right? If you're coming off of a Cisco phone system and you want to reuse Cisco handsets, that's not a problem. We can do that as well, utilizing Teams as well. As far as our solutions go, Microsoft is top of mind, right? That's something that we want to talk about today. So talking about Teams, kind of going back to 2008 when we partnered with them, we actually had our own hosted Skype for Business. We still have that solution. So a lot of our customers do have a migration path going to Teams though. As far as Microsoft goes, to really validate Call Tower in this space, Call Tower is the only company globally to provide direct routing as a service to the Department of Defense and all their governmental contractors. So if any of you on today's call happens to be using the GCC high licensing and you want to use Teams for telephony or for audio conferencing, Call Tower is the only company that is authorized with the Department of Defense to provide direct routing. Not even Microsoft can do it. So of course we are a partner with Microsoft from a licensing perspective. We are also one of their top 100 partners here in the United States. Now, as far as other products that we have, such as our CT Cloud Voice, the reason why I want to touch on these is this is other products that we have that will enhance your experience with Teams. So, for example, if you have let's just say a manufacturing plant, and again, you want different phones that are not Teams enabled, we do offer that through our CT Cloud Voice product. If you need overhead paging, or a door phone, or a door buzzer, or a gate opener, anything like that, we could utilize this platform. This platform also will allow you to connect into prem-based type phone systems. So if anyone on today's call is currently using a phone system, and let's say you would like to retain it for redundancy, or maybe you've got an office that you just bought new phones for prior to the pandemic, so you don't want to rip and replace it, we can actually use this platform to integrate that phone system with Microsoft Teams, okay? And then of course Cisco, we do have the Cisco offering. So some of the folks out there who may still want to use Cisco's conferencing solution, or maybe have Cisco phones and you want to again utilize these handsets that will work with Teams, we could do that by crossing the platforms and making them work together. Now, again, the Call Tower Advantage, I know I touched on a lot on the UCAS side, meaning the voice side. We do have contact center, so if anyone on today's call needs any contact center solutions, it's something that we can help you with. Depending on what your solution is or what your needs are, depends on which option we'll talk about. Okay, Five9, everybody kind of knows that Five9 name. It's a very big name in this industry for contact center. We also have our CT Cloud Contact Center, which is a very very affordable contact center solution for all of our customers. Conferencing solutions, we understand that most of you, including myself, I use Teams for my invites and that, but if you feel that you need to maintain a Zoom account or even a WebEx account for whatever reason, we can actually rebuild those and put them on our bill, so that way you get a one total bill from Call Tower. You no longer need to pay Zoom for a separate license, or even Cisco WebEx for a license. We can put it all on the Call Tower billing. Different ways to help you with your network optimization. For example, our CT Cloud Boost product is SD-WAN technology. This is, so if anyone on today's call needs help to prioritize their internet traffic, provide some sort of redundancy, or even just load balancing, we could do that through our CT Cloud Boost product, which again is SD-WAN. We can even help you with your bandwidth needs. So if you need a redundant or a primary connection, let's just say a 20, 50, or 100 meg connection, we can help you with those. We have a couple other products here for security, which is Conquest, and then also CT Analyze. This is really going to fall more for the Cisco offering that we have, more so than Teams. As you can see, we have a lot of products here. That's why I like to say at Call Tower that we actually are a true solutions provider. So whatever your needs are, we can help you with. And it's because we have multiple platforms, we could talk about it. In some cases, we need to integrate multiple platforms to make things work the way you want. I know I touched on the core of our network, or I'm sorry, the core of our products, but as you can see, there are other products that we have here as well, which I'm going to touch on some of these as well. Talking about network, one thing that sets us apart versus many others, including Microsoft, is this. As you can see, we're in 5 data centers across the country. What a lot of people don't know is that the core of Microsoft's network is actually in Chicago. Okay, that's the core of Call Tower's network as well. So we actually have a meta switch that resides there. It's a carrier class 5 switch, which we port all your phone numbers to, that is literally sitting in the same data center. So we are cross-connected via fiber right into the cage. So not only are we on the backbone of Microsoft, but we're also on the backbone of the public switching telephone network and tied in with over 40 internet providers. Now, the other thing is if anyone on today's call was thinking about moving to Teams and you have international locations or even just international workers that are maybe working from home, we can actually hit all those locations. We're actually in 6,000 cities around the world. So usually porting is not an issue, but it does happen once in a while. So please, if you have any locations overseas or again remote users, we should be able to help you with all of that as well, including porting either existing phone numbers. Now, things come up quite a bit as far as how are you connected into Microsoft and talking about bandwidth and that. One thing I'd like to let you know is that most customers come to us on a bring your own bandwidth, BYOB. DIA stands for dedicated internet access. So it doesn't matter who you're using for your internet connection, whether it's Lumen, AT&T, Spectrum, Comcast, Windstream, it does not matter. See, we're tied in with over 40 internet providers, as you saw in the previous photo. So because of that, we actually have quality of service going with connections with those providers. There's 40 of them. These are just kind of the bigger name ones and that. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you have a direct connection into Call Tower if you have one of the top 40 internet providers going to Microsoft. Now, talking a little bit more in depth about Teams, I'm sure many of you are, on today's call are considering going with the voice within Microsoft Teams. I mean, why not? If you're already using it for your collaboration, your chat, your presence, why not make it your phone system? By making it your phone system, you're getting the full use out of the entire or I should say, out of the capabilities that Teams offers. You could do that right through there. Let me see, and then, sorry, it wouldn't click here. So why Call Tower for Microsoft versus going to Microsoft directly? One is the DID management. See, we manage all the porting, right? We'll switch all your numbers and move your numbers over to Call Tower. We can even do things in a hybrid mode. As I mentioned, if you have 10 offices, let's say, for example, and you want to start with one office, but you still want that connection with other offices for 4-digit dialing or something like that, we can actually do that. The other things that are exclusive with Call Tower that Microsoft natively cannot do is one, as you can see, we're in over 100 countries. So we can actually port numbers in over 100 countries to provide Teams direct routing, which is the phone system in Teams. Receptionist console, which Teams does not offer, we have. GCC High, which I touched on, was part of the DoD or Department of Defense. The other thing here is, emergency notifications. I touched on our CT Cloud Boost, our contact center and that. But the other thing here is talking about, our experience with Microsoft. We understand their feature gaps, right? We can fill those feature gaps using one of our other platforms, but ultimately it comes down to things like training. See, if you go through Microsoft or some other folks out there, what they love to do is as you start to use their service, they send you videos, right? This is how you set up your phone system. This is how you, set up a user, things like that. With Call Tower, we offer all of our training is live. We do it on a weekly basis. You can sign up as often as you like. Our corporate trainer, Jessica, actually does a full 30-minute presentation and then on how to use Teams as a phone system. So if you have any folks that just need a little bit of help to use the phone system or have, learn some shortcuts, I should say, it's easy for them to sign up and sit through those sessions on a weekly basis. If you have new hires, right, you hire a new employee. If you hire that new employee, sign them up for the training. Jessica will train them on your behalf. And then support. I can't emphasize support being a big deal here at Call Tower. So our support's 24/7, 365 US-based support. We are headquartered out of South Jordan, Utah. We are privately held, and we are about 200 employees. Another thing that sets us apart versus some of the providers out there is no session border controllers are needed. I get this question a lot, like, do I need to buy a session border controller that sits on my prem so that Teams will work? No, these session border controllers are all hosted in the Microsoft data centers. Okay, with fully geo-redundant setups, as well as we manage everything. To explain how we're native, again, I like to say we do not integrate with Teams. We are native to Teams, and because of that, we are using the Microsoft Teams certified devices only with our platform. Okay, I'm a visual person, so when explaining how we're connected to Microsoft, I love showing this slide because today if a call comes in, hits the PSTN, which is the public switching telephone network, it rides over your internet connection into Call Tower. And Call Tower, we see that number is pointing to Teams. We hand it off through our session border controllers, which are hosted in the Microsoft data centers, talking to Teams. So Teams is processing the call. We accept the call, we pass the call to Microsoft, and then Microsoft is the one that is doing the transfer, doing the connection. Every time you put somebody on hold, mute, or they get your voicemail, it's all Microsoft. As far as our deployments and that, questions come up with what's your time frame. Microsoft has a portal that you can enter all your phone numbers, and then you just kind of wait for the process to go through. And it's a self-install. It's very little support, very little training in that. With Call Towers, you can see we have a dedicated implementation manager who will go through this with you. And basically, we just spelled out everything from signature to port. So basically from the signature all the way to port is typically about that 30 to 45 days. Anybody who's on the call today, if you have multiple locations, if you have a lot of users, let's say 1,000+ users, yeah, you could probably fall closer to the 60 days. But if you're, a 100-person office, that's a 30, easy 40 days, again, from signature to port. As far as what makes us a little different from a pricing perspective is, I love to share this plan. So if anyone's entertained Microsoft's dial plans, their most common is their $12 plan. That's $12 per person per month. If you make international calls, you'll want to take out the $12 plan. So in some cases, your users are going to be $20, $12 or $24, depending on. There is an $8 plan that's not very popular. That only gives people 1,200 minutes for inbound and outbound, but the $12 plan here is definitely the most popular that you see out there. With Call Tower, we really simplify everything. It's $7.95 for unlimited calling US and Canada. Or we have another option here, which is option 2. And option 2 is a pay-as-you-go calling plan, which is $4.95 per person, plus a penny per minute for outbound calls. All your inbound is free. Teams to Teams is free. This is only if you're calling a restaurant down the street or somebody across the country that's outside of your organization. You will be billed at the penny per minute. Now we understand that a lot of people love this plan, especially larger customers. Let's say anybody from 300-400 seats and above. They love the $4.95 plan. It keeps the cost down, and yes, you're going to have some usage, but you may be concerned that you have some individuals in your office that really use a lot of minutes, right? Outbound minutes, and because of that, you want to put them at the $11.95 unlimited calling. The difference from the $11.95 unlimited versus the $7.95 is that the $7.95 has to be for all users. So common area, conference rooms, common areas, it does not matter. It's $7.95. Where here we allow people to mix and match, which is great. Here's a customer of mine that I was introduced to last year. When pandemic hit, they were using Teams. They decided to go with the phone system, so they added the phone system in, and then they picked the Microsoft plan, right? They picked the $12 plan. They had 1,057 users. They do a lot of international calling. I shouldn't say a lot, but everybody needs international access, and so they had to take out the $12 plan. So that put them at the $25,000 per month for them. With Call Tower, we really simplified it and said, okay, we'll put 1,051 of your users at the $4.95. They had about almost 20,000 minutes of usage, outbound usage. And then they put 6 people in their billing department on the unlimited plan. Now, to be fair, we should probably, add about $500 to $600 a month here that they make on international calls. But still, their bills between, $5,500 and $6,000 per month versus what they were paying at $25,000 with Microsoft. So we save them quite a bit of money. The other thing I like to show is on the direct routing piece. Direct routing, as I mentioned, is a name that Microsoft gave us. Through Microsoft, they call it a dial plan, and anybody else is a direct routing plan. Okay, again, we're taking over phone numbers, we're porting the numbers onto the call tower network, and then we provide redundant SIP trunks that are going to the Microsoft Teams servers, right? So again, calls are coming in, we're processing them through our session border controllers, which are being handed off. But some of the things that may be missing natively in Microsoft, again, is going to be like overhead paging or door phones, door buzzers, things like that, right? The call recording, SMS texting, things like that that we can do and have it work with Microsoft. So I'd like to touch on just some different designs. I know there's a lot of companies out there talking about that they integrate with Teams. I want everyone on today's call to understand the different connections in with Microsoft, because if you are entertaining or somebody's knocking on your door or sending you emails that they now have a phone system that integrates with Teams, it's kind of like their lead in because everybody's using Teams. So I wanted to explain the different designs here to everybody so that you understand how we're connected versus everybody else. So design one is Microsoft, right? You can buy a dial plan. It's a do-it-yourself install, no training, very little support. It's that $12 plan. Call tower, we're in design two. So I mentioned that we do the porting, the implementation, the training. We are utilizing 100% of that phone system. We're doing the support, and then also we are doing, and we offer failover options. Okay, so let's say there is a problem with Teams. What happens with your calls? We can reroute your calls somewhere else, right? Design three, there's companies out there that are using a third-party switch which integrates with Teams. The problem is that you're living in a different portal. So when you're setting up your voicemails, your auto attendants, things like that, you are doing that in a separate system, not in Teams. With Call Tower, it's all done in Teams. It's expensive, it's clunky, it just doesn't make sense. The only thing that they like to bring up is that what if Teams goes down? Well, if Teams goes down, you know, you could still be up on their platform. Well, yeah, but we could do the same thing here at Call Tower, right? We do have those failover options. As far as third-party integrators out there, there's some pretty big companies that we all know that are in the unified communications as a service world. That use a third-party software. So now they're selling you their cloud phone system that works with this third-party software that then talks to Microsoft. So you've got to get the licensing from Microsoft. You have to take out the integration piece, and then you have to buy their UCaaS platform. Expensive, clunky, again, just doesn't make sense. The way we're connected is, again, we have encrypted certified SIP trunks going from Call Tower directly into Microsoft, and that where everyone else has got to be doing some third-party software or a third-party system. Okay, again, just doesn't really make sense in that world. Talking about some of the integrations with Teams, things, as I mentioned, feature gaps before, things that Call Tower can do as add-ons is things like SMS texting. Okay, we do offer SMS texting, and we actually offer it in two different ways. We could do it as an individual, right? So when you send an SMS text message out, everyone that texts you back is actually seeing your DID, your direct inward dial number, your direct line for you. We have MMS, which is coming. It will be, I think, this month. It will be active, and that's so we actually put some development into that. So that's nice. So if anybody out there would like SMS texting in Teams, we can do it here at Call Tower. The other thing that comes up quite a bit is integration with CRMs. Call Tower can do it. We call it CT Cloud Unite for Teams. Basically what it does, it allows you to, do things like your history, right? Your history, your pop-up. So if somebody calls in, you have them in Salesforce or NetSuite or something like that. You want that screen pop. It can log the call. It allows you to do note-taking. It's click to dial and everything else. So just so everyone knows that we do have it, and it's more the popular ones, right? The Salesforce, NetSuite, Zendesk, Connect, Dynamics, things like that. So they are available to connect there. Some of the other ones I like to point out that maybe are a little less, like a Zoho, some of these Sugar. I've had a customer recently who wanted Sugar and that. So just so that you know that we do have this. These integrations with Teams. Now, devices come up quite a bit as well. Now, talking about different devices here at Call Tower, again, because we're native to Teams, these devices are all Teams, carry the Teams firmware, right? So whether it's the physical handsets, Poly or Polycom, as some people know them, as well as the Yay Links. Polys are back ordered until the first of the year. They're having a chip problem. I'm sure many of you on today's call have been hearing that out there. With computers and cars and everything else. So they're experiencing some issues as well. With Yay Links are available. So all the Yay Link models are available. Headsets, we do offer headsets as well. And these are all the team certified devices. You don't have to buy the devices from us. If you want to buy them through a third party, that's totally fine. As long as they're team certified, it does not matter. These devices are offered on a rent to own and or a purchase. Okay. As far as redundancy, I want to kind of come back to the team's redundancy, only for the fact that, having everything with Microsoft sometimes becomes a concern with customers. They're saying, yeah, but if, email's down, it's one thing. If there's a problem with anything Office 365 or Teams, how does that affect my phone system? Well, with Call Tower, we definitely can help you there, right, from a redundancy standpoint. But we can also help integrate other systems, right? So I've had customers who bought a phone system three years ago, and they didn't want to rip and replace that system because they've got a big investment in there. You can keep that phone system, and we can provide maybe some SIP trunking going to it, but yet activate Teams so that you can do 4-digit dialing between the two platforms. You could set up simultaneous ringing in Teams. So therefore, if somebody calls your team DID, it also rings your desk phone. That could be a Mitel or a ShoreTel or a Cisco or any type of system, right? We can help you with like paging and then the faxing. Faxing, I know, is still out there. We offer faxing and we offer it in a fax to email as well as a connection to a physical fax machine. From the redundancy standpoint, we understand that Microsoft, could have an issue. If you're using Microsoft's calling plan, directly through Microsoft, and there is a problem with Teams, you're dead in the water. The system is going to be down. The way Call Tower does it is completely different. So one, again, we're porting your numbers over to Call Tower, right? So the PSTN is your public switching telephone number. Call comes in and hits our network, and then we pass the call off to Microsoft. With that, and then Microsoft is directly connected, Call Tower is directly connected to Microsoft. So once we pass the call off to them, you're going to have your auto attendant, or you're going to have your live answer, and then it comes into the users, right? So as you can see here, but in a scenario where Teams has a problem, we can actually set something like this up where we set up a fully redundant system. So we could set up an auto attendant off of our CT Cloud Voice, which is a different platform. We could set up a 2-second timer. So if somebody tries to call you, we see that Teams is down, we could reroute your calls and say, press 1 for sales, press 2 for support, press 3 for an operator. Now, if I press 1 for sales, maybe it goes to the sales manager's cell phone. If I press 2 for support, maybe it rings 10 people's cell phones. If I press 3 for an operator, it could come into their cell phone, or we can offer a soft phone off of our other platform like Cisco or something that it will pop up on that individual screen, and they can answer and manage calls that way. So this is one offer that we could do. If you said, something like this is very simple, and what's it cost? You're looking at $85 per month. Not very expensive to have some sort of redundancy plan there. To really simplify it as well, some people say that's a little too complex. We could do a simple voicemail. We could also have a live answer here, which could be done. We could have a third option where it's going into, there's a problem with the platform, and then because Teams is down, now it's ringing personal devices, on automatic forwarding. Doesn't even have an auto attendant. It's just being forwarded to individual cell phones. Great for even, key numbers, right? And very important numbers like customer service, or maybe the CEO's direct line, things like that, that we offer. I kind of keep coming back to other platforms as well, because Teams, in Call Tower and Teams, we can integrate multiple platforms. So here's a diagram. And, I'm a very visual person, so sorry if I'm sharing too many diagrams here, but I love to show this stuff because, it's different ways. What makes us different here at Call Tower versus a lot of my competitors, we like to customize solutions for you. Calls coming in, it can hit another platform, our CT Cloud Voice, and then it can hit Microsoft Teams, which then processes the calls. Again, if Teams is down, customers could still be up utilizing this platform, which again we call our CT Cloud Voice platform. As far as other failover options, think of, I'm touching on a couple here, but there are many different ways to do it. We could do a simple RCF, which is remote call forward. So if you want to go into a answering service or something like that, simple auto attendant, I already touched on the voicemail, or a customer SIP trunk. I've had customers who say, you know what, I bought the system 5 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm going to keep my legacy phone system, keep about 5 phones hanging off of it, and then can you provide me some SIP trunking? Yes, so we'll provide SIP trunking going to that phone system, activate all the Teams users. If there's a problem with Teams, we're routing it back to their old prem-based phone system, right? Can easily be done. So not a problem. Because everything, has to hit Call Tower and Teams, we have the control on how to route calls. Different ways of doing that. We could set it up as a proactive or as a reactive scenario. You just let us know and we can set that up. So if you want that timer, great. If you don't want the timer and just have reroutes done, that can easily be done through here and utilizing our dedicated SIP connections. As far as the CSP, we are a cloud service provider with Microsoft, but we don't sell a lot of the licensing. That's where we utilize Peters and Associates. But the advantages there are that we know Microsoft, right? And because we know Microsoft, we work with Peters and Associates to help with all that. So, and we help with the support of the licensing, because a lot of my competitors out there that sell Teams direct routing, that's all they sell. They say, here's your SIP trunk, we'll port your numbers. Anything from the licensing, you've got to deal with. Well, that is somewhat, is true and not true, because here at Call Tower, because we are a Microsoft shop, we work with Peters and Associates to get you set up on the tenant. We offer the training, and basically we know what we're saying. We've got Microsoft engineers on staff that work with Peters and Associates. So having them provide the licensing, having Call Tower assist them and making sure that, we are auditing your licenses to make sure everything is accurate, from audio conferencing, do you have the right phone system? Do you have meeting room licenses that are needed, common area on that? But we are definitely work with them. Anyone would like, just a quote or have a conversation, please reach out to Peters and Associates. They could schedule time with myself and we could kind of walk through what you're looking for, what your needs are. We could talk about it. And again, customizing a solution that's going to fit your needs.